So quick introduction, I am Jair. I'll be playing some virtual Hydlide for you today, or trying to play some virtual Hydlide. On my couch here, starting from my left.
I am Yagamoth. I'm just along for the ride.
Good morning, Yagamoth.
I'm High Spirits. I was here not that long ago killing spooters.
No spiders in this run. And
Nice. I'm Mr. P.R. Miller. I'm here because I'm one of the only people I know in this country that likes Hydlide.
Hey, Hydlide is an amazing game, okay?
Hydlide
It's amazing. That's one way to put it.
it is
only
a
this
true
country?
tradition.
It was so great they had a remake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Here it is.
The fantabulous 90s hair and dress and everything.
Look at this art. Look at this. Isn't
All right,
this cutscene?
this is actually the important part of the plot. So we're making sure that you guys understand what virtual Hydlide is all about. We have a princess, we have a demon, and then she turns into some fairies. And that is all you really need to know to understand virtual Hydlide.
Well, obviously, they're going to just give us more detail as we're playing through the game about what happened, right?
Yes.
Well, there's a pink, a green, a yellow. Yeah, there were a couple different colors there. Those mean something, don't they?
Hey,
Yep.
this
And
is
I'm
the
just doing a
power of
quick
the Saturn.
hard reset there to get hopefully the correct RNG. This is a set seed run, which means that the game is going to sometimes not generate the correct seed, but turning it on from power on seems to make it a little bit more reliable.
Nice.
Yeah, this is actually a random game.
This is the true randomizer of RPG on the break.
Just to make it even better, it's actually randomized if you don't put a seed in.
And I think it says that in the instruction manual also. Millions and millions of possibilities.
I don't know why they thought the people played the game more than once, but that was the intention.
I can't believe they thought enough people would play it at least once.
It's the game that just keeps on giving.
Now, do you mind if I give a warning before this run starts?
I think that it's definitely appropriate, Mike.
So, people will think that the stream is stuttering, or we're going down, or there's something wrong with the stream. Don't worry. The only thing that's wrong with the stream is that virtual Hydlide is being played. To describe the game's frame rate, you can describe it in seconds per frame.
Only certain parts. All right, so time. You start whenever you feel like it. It's still thinking about the seed.
Oh, boy.
Well, I was confused. Was that the seed name that you just put in, or is that your character name?
That is the seed name I just put.
Okay,
This
good.
is-
So this knight is still named Jim, because that's the original.
This is Jim the Knight. He's
Jim
got
the Knight,
a little
okay.
bit of a limp, some little bit too much eating as well. Luckily, he does have sprint, so that makes him extra goofy looking. He also has strafe, which is really fun to watch.
Those are some really black boots, too.
I like his boots. All right, so we're taking a teleporter here. This is basically ripped off from Draken, if you've ever seen that game, for how the teleporter system works.
Yeah, it worked great in Draken, didn't it?
And now we're going to go on to the first quest. This is the fairy forest. There is 16 trees. One of them contains a fairy. 15 of them contains bees. You don't want the bees. This is what happens if you get the bees, though. So there are the bees, and let's try to fight the bees. Oh no, Jim's died.
Nice.
Wow.
Jim's natural state in Hydlide, yes.
All right, so luckily, if you do game over, this was maybe intended to be an arcade game. I can't tell, so we're going to have to put some more quarters into the Saturn to continue.
It has the countdown of an arcade game, okay?
Yeah, you do want to make sure you get that in before it gets down to 0 so that you can keep going.
You probably
Well,
want to put it
I
in
don't know
before
why
it
you
gets
want to
to
keep
5
going.
because the frame rate will probably skip to 1 if you don't.
That's true. Or the system might go off by the time it gets to 3.
All right, so we've recovered from being covered in bees. That's Jim's first inglorious death. Luckily, I do know where the fairy is. If you didn't know this, the hint is the fairy rings like a telephone. So here's the fairy phone. We're going to answer that. And that was our first experience quest. So the only way to level up in this game is to do quests. So I got some more life. I got some more carrying capacity, which... Reverend, would you like to tell us a little bit about what carrying capacity
Watch out,
has
Mr.
done to your life?
Well, as somebody who's played enough Super Hydlide that I'll admit it, I've played Super Hydlide. I like Super Hydlide.
Just have some problem with the doors.
beat it
Don't worry about that.
multiple times. Carry capacity is, if it's anything like the other games, is you can't act, move, or do anything beyond. So if you imagine how slow your frame rate is here, let's slow it down because this game was way too fast.
Yeah, you'll run about a quarter speed of your normal speed.
There you go.
All right, so here we're in the graveyard. This is going to be our second quest. Now, I am playing on the Japanese version, so if we need some help, Mike Uyama on host is going to be voice acting all of the dialogue and characters in the game. So, Mike, I hope you've been preparing for this.
Sure.
All right, he'll roll with it.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up the last item in here. This is the iron armor. I got the crucifix, which is one of the required quests. This is 100%, so we are going to be doing the entire game. And you guys did donate for 101%, which means I'll do more silly things than the game even requires. Except for, there's 3 required gems. I'm not going to bother getting those.
Now you got aluminum foil.
Yeah, that'd be 104% if we got that. That was the upgrade to the aluminum foil armor. So now we are set to hopefully not die to any more bees. But I'll be going on to the third quest, which is the trial dungeon. I'm doing these a little bit out of order. The reason is so that I'm optimizing my overall travel time. You're definitely not supposed to do the trial dungeon next, and you'll see why when we get there. But I do have a little bit of a run along the way, so Mike, can you give us some donations to carry the time over?
So shockingly, this game is getting donations. So yes, I do have some donations for you.
Jim is happy.
Can't you see that smile?
Now, before I read some donations, someone on Twitch said Virtual Hydlide is currently the 10th highest rated channel on Twitch.
Yeah.
Gonna make a bold statement, say that's the highest it's ever been.
It's up there, but we can get it higher.
That's a high quality map there.
The map is actually one of the shining points of the game. Unlike most parts of it, it does run more than 5 frames per second.
Nice.
All right, I am lined up there pretty well. I do have to use the map to do some lineups because the graphics are not that good. All right, so into the trial dungeon we go.
The only dungeon that's actually nice because it doesn't let you see where you're going.
Yeah, you're supposed to have a lamp to get through here. I'm going to do some tricks to get through here. So we do have some time for more donations there, Mike, if you want to keep reading.
Sure thing. We have $75 from the Ultimo, who says, "Thank you, Jair, for bringing the best game to RPGLB. As a fellow speedrunner of Virtual Hydlide." Yes, there is more than one.
There is a leaderboard.
Whoa.
There's like 3, right?
Does it go by high score? I see that up there.
We'll talk about the score a little bit later.
I am glad you are able to show this off. I hope you get good fire dungeon luck.
I mean, I hope that we do have a frame in the fire dungeon. It's really important to be able to get at least 1 frame during the entire dungeon.
Nice.
Now, since I mentioned Twitch previously, it is, I do need to mention that this buttery smooth stream is brought to you by Twitch. This marathon is sponsored by Twitch.
Doing a good job, guys.
Doing a good job bringing us Virtual Hydlide.
You know, it might be running smoother on Twitch. We could watch it there.
Oh, my shins. My shins. Okay, we're unstuck from the monsters. There's a lot of things that I call just sticky, where a lot of times you can kind of slide off monsters or slide off walls. The game doesn't really have the best of collision mechanics. Picking up a dragon shield and an item called the Lens of Truth, which if you've seen Ocarina of Time, it is completely blatantly stolen from that game. So we've completed our objective here for the trial dungeon, and now hopefully there aren't any wisps that hit me in the spleen. Oh no, never mind.
Okay, I'm going to be honest about one thing. This is the first time I've heard this game with headphones, and those squeaks and whispers is starting to drive me crazy. So why are you going into the menu all the time? Don't you know where to go? This is a set seed.
Yeah, it's faster to turn in the menu. You can only turn, you can't move while in the menu. But since the menu runs at 60 frames per second, or like at least maybe 20, the turning speed is based on your frame rate. So as you can get the jerky frame rate back and forth, I'm actually like rapidly accelerating and decelerating for my turns. It makes it very difficult to get things lined up properly. And so it's important to, especially when you're trying to run straight, which is very hard in this game. No. Keep trying to. There you go. It's important to use the mini-map to kind of help yourself to get lined up. Or you can just wing it and like go diagonally with a strafe run. That'll be used in quite a number of areas just to be able to go through Jim's arch nemesis, the doors. All right, so I need to find the exit here. It's a black tile on a black square in a black dungeon. I'm also kind of using my mini-map to hopefully line up. No.
Just dance, Jim. Just dance.
Jim, there we go.
There you go.
All right. Well played.
We have defeated the trial dungeon.
You can almost see the little arrows where he should have been dancing there.
He just had to jimmy himself around until he got up.
Nice. And your score went up too. I'm impressed. Look at that.
You may have noticed that we actually have not fought anything in the game, at least not successfully. I'm getting about 50,000 points per these quests. If you fight a monster, you get like 10 points. It's really completely trivial and useless to ever do battles in here. So I try to do nothing except for the boss fights. Sometimes, though, I get stuck inside of a monster, and I sometimes have to like beat my way out of it. All right, here we are over to our next destination, which is going to be the Vampire Mansion, our first boss fight here coming up. We have a little bit of overall traveling time, so Mike, if you want to squeeze in a donation before we get there, that'd be appreciated.
Sure thing. We have $15 from Turnip the Beat, who said, had to donate during the only Saturn game in the marathon. I mean, since it's a Saturn title, it's objectively the best title in the marathon.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely the best Saturn game in the marathon. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'd agree with that.
You're right.
All right, so we've had pretty good frame rates so far in the game. This is the first area where it starts slowing down a little bit, especially as we get up to the second floor of the dungeon.
Remember when I said they did you a favor by not showing you the last dungeon? Now you actually got to see the dungeons.
Yeah, and so the quest in the Vampire Mansion is to touch the vampire's balls. The vampire has 5 balls, and we must touch them all to proceed. They are scattered throughout here. Since it's a set seat, I do know where his balls are.
It's good to know.
I'm not making any of this up.
Yeah. So enjoy the glorious frame rate now.
All right, so the vampire's got some poorly decorated rooms. There's one of his balls. We touched it.
Those high-def textures are really getting me.
It takes about 15 or 20 seconds for the ball to light up, so I do use an audio cue to tell when it's been successfully touched.
Am I allowed to say one thing? Twitch, please don't take away our sponsorship.
Should have thought about that before you put virtual Hydlide on. All right, 2 balls touched. Oh no, Jim, door, Jim. There you go. Doors really are one of the harder parts of the game.
It's not the vampire that's going to make us lose the Twitch sponsorship. I mean, look at it.
There we go, 3 balls touched.
Nice.
Now we're coming up to the second floor. This is where we do get a lot more slowdown, so I do have to be a little bit careful here.
And the hardest boss in the game, the clock.
Oh yeah, the clock's really tough. Okay, no, Jim, no, Jim.
Oh my god.
All right, made it in the door.
Yaga is excited, as you can tell.
Ball number 4. 1 more ball to go. We're almost done with the balls.
Just leave the bat inside.
Here's the clock boss. I don't know why they put that there. It's really tough to navigate around.
Did you just step on a bat?
Don't worry about it. All right, balls have been touched. Oh, Jim.
The bat is much happier where it's gone.
All right, vampire can now be beaten.
Clock.
Clock. Now the vampire can be beaten. If you don't touch the balls, when you come to the 3rd floor here, it says a mystic force presents your progress. And here is our first boss fight. I'm going to do a little bit of AI manipulation to make this fight a little bit easier. So whenever I hit him, the vampire teleports backwards. I don't know what he's saying. That's not Japanese. So, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. All right.
I
Yeah.
can see the manipulation here. It's really.
It's pretty intense.
I know, it's intense.
Got to be frame perfect.
Wait, almost. Wait,
All right.
got
Yeah,
scared there.
Yeah, good job.
50,000
Vampire
points.
down.
First enemy defeated.
Don't forget about the one shopping trip.
All right, here we go.
Just stand there. Yeah.
This is how you recover health in the game. You stand very, very still. You can see the life is ticking up by 3 health points by roughly per second.
Oh, just like the original Hydlide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you want to recover, you have to sit there for like 2 minutes straight.
Look how happy Jim is to take out the vampire.
Luckily, you do get a health refill for doing these quests. So I got my magic lamp. There's 2 versions of the magic lamp you can get. One of them is slightly heavier than the other. Otherwise, they're identical.
Now you get to see it in bright orange.
Yeah, here we go. This is what the lamp we're supposed to have to do that trial dungeon. I also put on the Lens of Truth, which is kind of recommended for the ruins, which is coming up. Oh man, second floor time. Okay, we're almost done with the second floor. There we go. Back down to the better frame rate.
It's hard to go straight in this game.
It's hard to really do anything in this game. Yeah. The controls are as bad as you might expect for having no controls at all. Also, almost everything is done with the X button for travel, so it's sprint, pick up items, and also go into neutral position. So often when I'm trying to pick something up, I'll be sprinting involuntarily backwards and forwards because there's no collision with items. And so it's really, really tough to like bend over and grab something.
So all those other buttons must be really important then.
They actually are completely using the Saturn controller in inappropriate ways.
Obviously, they're using the Saturn period in inappropriate ways.
It is not meant to be a 3D console. So here we go to the ruins. This is one of our faster overworld trips. So with the Lens of Truth, I can see these invisible passageways through here. If you didn't have that, You can still get through this dungeon, but it tries to make the wall solid, just not successfully. So you kind of get up into the wall and you just wiggle back and forth, and you'll eventually get through it. Lens of Truth just guarantees you can walk through it first try. Well, within a couple tries.
Obviously, going at 5 FPS, you got 4 frames somewhere in there that you can wiggle through that wall.
And this is their best idea. Let's make a really tight 90-degree maze turns. So this is a very heavy challenge for your turning skills. I'll be using a lot of map turns through here. And Jim is going to try to get unstuck from most of the walls. It works really well in like a pen and paper game or games like Etrian Odyssey where you can, just turn 90 degrees, but they've got a 3D engine, and that was really the downfall for a lot of what they did. The original Hydlide, which had better graphics than this, by the way, was
On the NES.
well, on a variety of Japanese computers. Later, like many years later on the NES, which is why it got a deservedly bad reputation. It came out after The Legend of Zelda, and it didn't really hold up very well in comparison. But the early releases were passable. All right, let me get lined up here. There's these floor traps that'll do like 90% of your health if you get stuck on them, so important to get lined up there. Grab a long sword. The game doesn't actually tell you what you're picking up. Part of the mystery and charm is that you need to identify the items, including the fact that they might be cursed, which will give you a bad item and then not let you take it off. We'll also get the fairy armor there. You did donate for 101%, and the fairy armor is part of looking as awesome as possible while playing Virtual Hydlide.
Oh, nice.
And then my final one here is going to be to get the flame pendant. This is actually a required item. I think with a Taz you could maybe get, maybe you could open the chest, but after that you could also maybe get through the volcanic cave, which otherwise requires this item to progress through. That is the quest of the runes, so we don't actually, once again, fight a boss here, but the rest of the dungeons will all have bosses. I know you've been missing out on the glorious Virtual Hydlide combat.
I think you missed the passageway there.
The passageway missed me.
And we have 50 health more. So the score is, I take it, like the experience?
The score is points. I can spend the points at a shop. The points are also going to be used for the leaderboard at the end of the game.
Leaderboard.
It's a little bit finicky, but I do have a high score leaderboard that is kept on the Saturn. Because I'm showing off some things from Marathon, we probably are not going to get a new high score. However, just kind of at random, the leaderboard resets and then unresets itself. So maybe right now it is clear and we will be able to see what the high scores are.
It unresets itself.
Yeah, it wiped my leaderboard when I came here, and then like a day later, the leaderboard was back. I don't know how that happened.
Well, the leaderboard only shows up at 5 FPS. You just called it the wrong time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's frame perfect leaderboard. Yeah.
Most things in this game are frame perfect, except for a couple things in the volcanic cave, which are sub-frame perfect. Jim mostly got that wall. Usually you're supposed to be through the doorway. The wall is kind of close enough. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the volcano is sub-frame rate, so...
The volcano is truly going to be the special part of the game. I hope everybody's looking forward to it. Although if you are prone to motion sickness, you will want to look away. And we will warn you about that stretch. I'm not kidding. That is the one part where I have had people tell me that they did get sick while watching this game.
Yeah, the volcano is where Virtual Hydlide's engine really shows off.
Definitely shows off something. Now I'm going to go do some shopping here. This will be, for the way that I've got this planned out, the only shopping trip that I'm going to be doing here. Because I'll take an extra death warp that I don't normally do for a marathon demonstration of how fun this can be. So we've got a little bit of time here before I get to the volcanic cave. You want to read some donations?
Sure thing. We have $5 from Above Up, who says, I can see why Hydlide so readily won that rivalry it had with the East series. Truly an achievement in RPG gameplay.
There is a lot of similarities between the original Hydlide and the original Ease in that you didn't have a way to like attack. You just ran into the enemies and they damaged you and you damaged them.
Yeah, bump fighting.
We also have a donation from Nemo 2342 for $25. Glad I could watch the main event. Virtual Hydlide in all its stock photo glory. Thank you everyone for putting on such an amazing event.
All right, here we go. Armor
Speaking of
upgrade.
putting on.
We're going to be much more stylish now. Placing our aluminum foil with the fairy armor.
So where's the NPC to buy stuff?
It's actually a menu.
Oh,
So we'll need one fairy tier. We're going to use that later. We're going to detect scroll. I'm going to get some potions of mind recovery, some stamina potions here.
rip score.
Yeah, there goes all my points.
Oh, no.
So yeah, this game has no NPCs.
Yeah, I said Mike was going to do some voice acting, but there is actually no NPCs, dialogue, or text of any kind in the entire game.
I mean, you didn't want to cut down the frame rate or anything like that. So, yeah.
I think it was more their budget that was severely cut down at some point during this process.
Yeah.
Jim took a lot of money to do what he's doing.
Look at him. He's just magnificent looking.
All right, one last check before we go in there. Looks like I got everything in good shape.
I mean, look at his animation. Look at the amount of time they put into all of the emotions that Jim displays for us.
All right, everybody, prepare yourself. This is the volcanic cave.
If you can see what's going on, congratulations. Good music, though.
Wow.
It gets worse.
So Jim always faces away from you, right?
Yes, you never see Jim's face throughout the entire game. You sometimes see a little bit of his sideburns, though.
Good, so he got work again. Got it.
This also has a slight chance of being mostly or partially out of bounds, which I don't want to have happen. But you can't really tell if you get out of bounds, because you might get back in bounds before you even notice.
Nice.
Missed about 59 frames right there, taking that step.
Yeah, your stream is not dropping frames right now. This is just the game.
Oh no, Purple Knight, get out of the way.
Go ahead, pick up the flame sword. This is not required at all, but it looks goofy, and Puexel asked me to get this.
Just so you can spend longer in the volcano, right?
Oh, come on, knights.
Uh-oh.
See, they don't actually notice me because I'm only next to them for about a frame or two, and that's not within the time that their AI can react. Now, I will say the music in Hydlide is almost passable, and this is probably my favorite of the music tracks overall. This one and the next dungeon, the sealed cave, are not like completely terrible to listen to, just mostly terrible.
It's an improvement.
Oh man. Okay, no, Jim. There we go. I'm doing like a huge number of D-pad presses and LNR strafing and turning. Like there is a lot of input going on. I know it doesn't look like it, but in between the frames, I've got to be lining myself up for all these turns and being able to catch into the walls where I need to be making my little bit of reference marks for this.
I feel like you kind of have to let your imagination play most of the in-between frames.
This game is frame perfect. Everything he is doing is a frame perfect movement.
I mean, when you have 10 frames total in the entire game, it's not too hard.
Jim's almost there. We've got to pick up one item here, the fighter necklace. I'm going to need that a little bit later. Uh-oh. Guy's stuck on top of me. There we go. We got it. Nope, we didn't get it. There we go. Sometimes you can pick up items from behind them. I don't quite know why or when it works. It just sometimes seems to happen. Okay, here we go into the wall. But after this wall, we're going to be into the boss, which is going to be the Hydra. This guy is actually 3 bosses taped together. So each of these 3 Hydra heads has its own independent life bar, as big as a normal boss. Also, you can't hit him until he gets closer. I got the longsword. Contrary to what you believe, it actually does have the longest range in the game. So it's like one step farther away that I can hit him from.
How long is one step?
I can't tell because all of it's in really bad 3D.
So that dragon looks like at least 15 frames.
Come on, a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Nope. Nope. There we go.
Oh,
There you go, Matt.
No.
Oh, he's mad.
Nope, nope. He's thinking. He's thinking. There we go. All right. So I can only hit 2 of the frames with a long poke. Once he gets a little closer, I can use this wide swing to hit all 3 and keep him stun locked. Or it might be close enough. There we go.
Yeah.
We just don't want him to back up, and then we have to repeat the alignment again. All right, there we go. 1 head down. There's 2 heads down. It's thinking.
Uh-oh.
Last head to go.
Uh-oh.
We're fine here. We're fine. No, we're not fine. There we go. We're fine.
Just one step closer.
We did it. Okay.
Hooray!
Dragon's dead. Now, as a reward for beating the dragon, a flute is going to fall from the sky, except it looks like a pot because there's only one overworld item in the game, which is the lamp.
I'm sure you could play it, the lamp. Maybe make some flute-like sounds.
So here we go. There is our pot descending from the heavens, and if we go look at that in our inventory, this is what we just picked up. So
Wow.
it's kind of close to what they had. Also, I'm going to put on the fighter necklace here. So this is what happens if you don't have that fire pendant. And we can use this as a quick death warp rather than using our fairy tears. Oh, Jim. Whoa.
Wow.
That was brutal.
Tragically, the game is not over. We're going to continue.
They really wanted you to get the flame pendant.
All right, so that also warps me back to the start of the dungeon. I did have another item I can use, the fairy tears, which cost me 100,000 points, or the equivalent of killing 10,000 regular monsters in the game to pick up in order to use once.
So you got a score, but when you pick up money in the game, they actually call it gold.
Don't ask too many questions. All right, so there's the volcanic cave. So obviously you want to warp back to the beginning, because otherwise it's 2 minutes or 3 frames worth of travel time to get all the way over to that entrance where we started. This is also the best possible volcano map. That's part of my seed manipulation to have better maps. The bigger ones are 4 times that size. I have no idea why the volcano is so unpredictably sized, but it's the most crazy of the variants. The way the seeds work is actually they're pre-canned maps. So there's like 20 different volcanoes and 20 different vampire mansions and so on. It just stitches them together based on your seed code. That's why there's millions and millions of total possibilities. Millions.
20 times 5, yeah.
There are a variety of areas that I'm sure were lovingly crafted by somebody, probably interns or whoever was wandering by that day.
Probably Jim.
It's hard to say. Jim did have a lot of time in the motion capture booth, as you can tell. I think he's got at least 4 frames of animation as he does this running pose. Here we're going to head on over to our sealed dungeon. It's a little bit finicky for getting the entrance to this. I got to line myself up so that it will play the flute correctly. This is actually very similar to the flute or horn in Dragon View, if you're familiar with that game. To make hidden entrances appear there. And after the volcanic cave, you're going to think this is the smoothest frame rate you've ever seen. But if you go back and watch this, and you'll just be like, wow, this is the most horrible video game you've ever conceived. It also, for some reason, takes like 20 seconds to load the music in this dungeon. I don't know why that happens, but I have a little bit of a race for myself against the music. Still thinking. Oh, there we go. Got the music. That's pretty bad. I didn't get too far down this corridor before the music loads. I try to be as far as possible before this turn coming up to outspeed it, but got caught on a zombie there.
So how do you tell where the turn is?
I used to do that.
So have you ever done a random seed run of this?
I have. A random seed run, my best time is about 20 minutes slower than the set seed. So I have gotten random seed runs under an hour for this.
Wow.
That's basically not knowing where anything is, the dungeons, the maps, not knowing what the items are, whether they're going to be cursed or not. So
I assume that's beating the game, not just giving up at that point.
yeah, there's just some things that you need to have preparation-wise in order for it to work out. And if you get lucky with the dungeons, you'll get a better time than if you get like the Lamp of Darkness, which if you saw the trial dungeon, basically makes all areas in the game like that, and you can't remove it.
So I believe we have a new estimate for this run.
Yes.
Somewhere around 23 frames.
I don't know if we're going to need that many.
Don't worry, you got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's only going to be here for less than an hour. I don't think 23 is really
Well,
something safe.
you do
All right, here's
have
the
to go
minecart.
get-
This
oh,
is
yeah.
really tough to get into. Hopefully I can get it first try.
Come on, you can do
No,
it.
no.
Almost.
Oh,
there
okay,
you
we
go.
got it.
Jim, you did it.
It was second try minecart. This is actually one of the top 5 minecarts that I have ever had in a video game. I'd probably put Final Fantasy VI slightly below this.
I don't know. I think the next minecart is much better.
They are both really good. You guys did donate for 101%, which means we're going to do a second optional minecart to get the fairy shield to complete our fairy outfit.
Nice.
Very nice outfit.
101% basically is going to get all of the best equipment in the game and do all the minecarts and just show off a little bit more of what makes Virtual Hydlide so special.
I love how the camera keeps going as the cart stops.
I love when the minecart has no wheels.
That would be too expensive.
Well, it's not like they needed an artist to draw wheels because no one was going to see them at this frame rate.
Right, lining up here. This ditch is actually split up into basically 6 separate floors. Some of them have those, I guess I call them elevators or teleporters that you just kind of ride slowly down between floors. And some of them have the mine carts. So there is kind of variety and I don't know really what they were thinking, but they at least tried.
I like to think that each one of these monsters took that minecart to get specifically in its place to stop Jim.
Now, I said there was no dialogue. There is actually no NPCs of any kind, but there are signs next to the mine carts that tell you that there's a 5 kilogram carrying capacity limit, which 5 kilograms is not very much. You basically have to take off all of your gear to be able to ride it. They don't actually implement that in the game, just put a sign in saying that. So you have to use your imagination that you're not going to be able to ride the mine cart.
By the way, those platforms do move at the speed of airship, right?
They're close. Also, if you're looking at the in-game time, you're going to start noticing that there's like a little bit of discrepancy between that and real time. It's thinking, it's trying as hard as it can.
It's already 10 minutes behind.
All right, minecart number 2. This is usually more successful than first try.
Look at that, first try.
Well played.
And you didn't clip out of bounds. Congratulations.
I don't really clip out of bounds in the minecart, but I can clip through the ceiling sometimes.
This is way more exciting than the first minecart.
Oh, you
wait
should
till
see
you see,
this.
yeah,
This is
wait.
the best minecart. Look at this
What's
jump
this?
action. Oh, yeah.
Man.
And this is going downhill right now, right?
No, this is going uphill. It's
Oh,
uphill
okay.
both ways.
Oh, okay.
This is the classics.
It's uphill both ways.
We had to do that back in the day.
And the camera. Oh, there we go.
There we
Camera.
go.
It even fooled the camera.
All right, we haven't seen any poison floors yet, which is kind of unusual. At random, it'll just suddenly fill the dungeon entirely from floor to ceiling with poison. I don't know why it does that. However, since it is random, it just will spawn in and out. So, like, you might be fine and then turn around and suddenly you're just sucking on poison. I picked up the magic sword at the beginning of the game in the graveyard. I manipulate that out to be able to cure poison. Or you can get antidote herbs, which is a really clunky and inconvenient way of doing it, because antidote herbs is a one-time use, whereas the magic sword just lets you do it as much as you want. Coming up on our fairy shield. There's about maybe 1,000 mimic chests in the game, so you really have to know where the real ones are. Mimics have a status element called Panic, which is really bad, about 15 seconds that you lose control of Jim, or even more losing control than normal. And so that can really slow you down. All right, there we go, completing our
15
ensemble.
seconds or 15 frames?
15 seconds,
Okay, check.
like
Okay,
thousands
just
of frames.
Clarification.
On a normal game, but 2 on Virtual Hydlide.
Good.
You know, those poison floors, this game really does, like, open the envelope and just give you all kinds of creative ways to get through this game, doesn't it?
Yeah, the previous Hydlides didn't have floor traps that I can remember, but we had floor traps in the ruins as well as in here for environmental issues.
I can't wait to see what kind of dungeon design is incoming, too.
You can wait, but you're going to see it.
Super Hydlide had sticky floor traps.
That's true. It did have the floors that slowed you down even more than normal.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like you were encumbered while walking over there. Okay, minecart,
okay.
minecart. Ah, that was a good mine. I'm very happy with how the minecarts went.
You were
That was-
manipulating those frames very nicely. Or frame.
Yeah.
Here we go, return trip. We're going to jump our way up on the previous one. We're going to jump our way up this way as well. There's that highlight action.
And only because you donated 101% did you get to see this minecart.
It's fantastic.
Now, the boss of the dungeon is going to be the evil mage, which all of these bosses, and there's the poison floors.
Nice, nice.
All of these bosses and areas are going to be very reminiscent of the original Hydlide. This is truly a remake where you are intended to have played the original Hydlide, be familiar with the story, all of the things you need to do, and the items, except everything works completely different, so it doesn't actually help you at all for this knowledge.
Kind of got to know the story from the original Hydlide because you're not going to get it in this game.
If it wasn't for the original Hydlide, it's the only reason I kind of know where to go and what to do for a lot of these parts. The mage was a really tricky part. You had to use a spell to kill these multiple mages simultaneously. They
get
came
the
up with
wave
their
spell.
they came up with their own way of making the mage really annoying, though, and it is very inspired. If you guys are familiar with Aghanim from Link to the Past, oh, this guy is way worse.
Think of Aghanim, but you can't see where he's teleporting because you only get to see 3 frames of it.
Nice.
You probably can read a bunch of donations during the boss fight, too.
I don't know if we want to spoil the surprise. Let's get at least one hit in, and then maybe we can read a donation or 2 while I'm fighting the boss. Come up on the mage here just a second. This is also why I grabbed the fire sword. The fire sword is one of the swords that lets you do a charge attack, that lets you shoot things, projectiles, but it has a little bit of a mechanic where you charge up in order to get to full power. and they didn't think somebody would try to
Use it.
hold the charge for a long time, which we do on the mage fight because he's really slow because he's Aghanim, he's teleporting around. So let's see how this fight goes. Also, I have no idea what he's going to say here. It's just gibberish.
Slowly turns around.
I agree.
Yeah, wow.
All right, here we go.
You didn't catch that? Oh, wow.
There's the shield.
That's right. It completely disables your animations while you're doing the charge, and
Oh, there you go. Get him.
gotta just charge up and hit him 9 times with the flame sword, 11 times with the long sword, and he can take up to a minute to do these
wow.
teleports around. Sometimes it's 3 seconds, which is what we want to see, but Mike, fill some time while this mage goes.
So I actually have a full page of donations here. So
Oh my god.
Awesome, you got time.
You got some time.
we have $10 from Nebus, who says donating for gym awareness and to wish Gyre good luck. Thanks for running a solid stream and being a stand-up guy, Gyre Hero.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
he was too fast for you.
You got about 40 frames for more donations, I think.
We have $5 from Linksara, who says I beheld Virtual Hydlide, and my life will never be the same.
That's true. That's true.
We apologize.
That's fair.
We have $5 from V Dark Eagle V. Have to donate during Gyre's Virtual Hydlide. Just want to say thank you to everyone that makes RPG Limit Break possible. You guys are all great. Can you put my
Oh, fake.
Fake out. We got more time, Mike. Keep going.
Oh, no. There's plenty of donations. We have $5 from LOK, who says, Go Adventure Jim! Go! Scoot! Scoot! Scoot!
LK is our wonderful artist that draws many things for Limit Break as well as Game Done Quick. There goes the mage. We got more time. It's still going.
We have $55 from Hosanna, who says, a donation for all the frames the developers of Virtual Hydlide forgot. Thank you, Gyre, for bringing greater visibility to this forgotten disaster.
All right, there we go. So suddenly a pot spawns. This time it actually kind of looks a little bit like a pot. There is the Tears of the Earth as well as our second fairy. I'm going to use my fairy tears to warp out of there. There are a lot of tears in this game. That is the most common item that you find in the game. So that's what teleports me back, so I don't have to repeat those entire 6 floors. I know you guys want to see more mine cards, but we just we want to make sure that we keep going throughout here.
Yeah, we might actually reach that estimate if we go through there too many times.
All right, so let's go on to what is technically not the last dungeon, but I call it the last dungeon because I will segue immediately into that after completing the Lost Castle. And this is another truly inspired dungeon. Oh man, Jim is very struggling to turn. Okay, so I have to go line myself with a bridge here. There is roughly a 6-foot draw distance, as you can see, for the environment. So these little things like bridges and mountains are actually quite difficult to navigate through. I hopefully am lined up correctly to get off this island. There we go. And the rest of this run is mostly uneventful once we successfully bridge, so we have time for maybe 2 more donations there, Mike.
We have a $5 donation from Linalia, who says, can't believe I'm up past 2 a.m. to watch such an amazing game. I'm starting to question the decisions that led my life to this point. At any rate, good luck to the runner.
We will need some luck, because coming up is the dungeon that will sometimes not spawn correctly. I do have a detect scroll so I can figure out what variant it is going to be in case I don't get my preferred one. But there's also some new mechanics that you have not seen yet.
Oh boy.
We have a teleporter maze, and we have platforming in a 3D game called Virtual Hydlide. So, if you've seen the game so far, imagine how the platforming is going to go. First, though, the teleporter maze. I've manipulated out a really fast teleporter maze. I'm going to show you guys how big this is that normally you have to figure out your way through. It's going to be 3 of these stacked floors of crystal, so vaguely RPG theme-ish.
Yeah.
And you have these teleporters up and down. And you have to figure out how to proceed through the maze to the center of the top floor based on the teleporters through there. And so you can only see 1 floor at a time. This is what the floors look like. So there's 3 of these floors.
Oh, it's ordeals. We saw that earlier.
So if you were still actually playing this game at this point, you probably just quit.
If you got past this, you definitely quit at the platforming. So here we go. There's floor number 1. This is floor number 2. Again, I manipulated out the best possible maze, so it's only 2 of these turns per floor. And here we go, floor number 3, and this is going to lead us to the platforming. Oh boy.
Eventually. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Hopefully we have the right version of the final dungeon. I need to pick up an item called the Sword of Light in here. The Sword of Light is required to beat the boss of this dungeon, otherwise you can't damage him at all. This is the platforming. 2 floors of this, and let's figure out what version that we are in. Go ahead, read my detect scroll. And what I'm doing is lining up on the map where the treasure chests are. And based on that pattern, I can figure out where we are. It looks like we got the good one in here. I want to see all those dots on the right-hand side.
This music.
It is tense and dramatic. Oh, come on. I want to make sure we line up with this platform cycle.
You know, I couldn't tell that was the music or not just a second ago.
I think it might just be some bad audio, but it could be the music as well. They sound very similar. Almost flat platform on this side. Okay. First floor platforming is done. I need to go pick up the Sword of Light and then come back here to that orange square, which is the stairs down. You also see that despite there only being like 6 chests on my map, there is like 1,000 other treasure chests. Those are all mimics. We don't want the mimics. There's also skeletons, which I cannot kill until I have the Sword of Light. And you're not guaranteed to get the Sword of Light on this floor. So imagine playing this game. Well, first of all, you've been playing this game for way too long.
Imagine playing this game. Yeah. Okay, stop.
Yeah. You're getting confused by the mimics. You're getting having to dodge around the skeletons until you find this item, which they don't even tell you that you even need this item in the game to be able to do all this stuff. Go get my Sword of Light +2, which is my ideal version. Gives me 6% more damage, which maybe 1 hit is going to be saved later on. That, though, is the best of the variant and also the most common with the way that the seed is manipulated out. So we can now progress back to the stairs down.
So what happens if you miss the
more
platforms?
Well, you can't fall. It's kind of like Zelda platforming where it doesn't let you run off the edge. However, it just sucks you randomly off the edge because it can't really tell when these platforms are moving next to each other. Like, close enough. We'll transfer to the other platform now.
Nice. Okay.
So it's really, really finicky for being able to move around. I've got a lot of alignment that I go back and forth on trying to get clean platforming through there. The skeleton. There we go.
Oh, that 10 damage.
Damage is important because you are not able to block on this next boss. So you just stand here shooting each other in the face. So it's really a damage race to see who's going to win.
Oh, Mimic.
Yeah, we're okay. Mimic is fine. Mimic's mostly fine. Everything on this side is going to be Mimic chests, so we know that we don't want to touch them. All right,
Mimics are the ones that have panic, right?
Yeah, Mimics are the ones that panic, but we're done with those. We're on to the Eel boss. Eel is, for some reason, all in capital letters, so I call him the Eelicious life form, so that's my my nickname for him. And here we go. Again, we're just shooting him right in the face. He's shooting us in the face, and one of us is going to die.
Classic standoff.
I love how just
critical hit on me.
I love how
that's
randomly some of your orbs don't fire.
Yeah, randomly just drop inputs. Okay, Eel's moving up to another spot. This is going to be nice. I got the fighter necklace on, and when he's closer, fighter necklace will sometimes get those triple hits in, and one more. All right, there, Eel's done.
Nice action.
Well done.
Nice kill shot.
We got our
right there.
victory pose. There's a better one where it kind of looks like Jim is throwing up, which is the natural reaction for this point in the game by now.
This is when he's having too much fun with it.
But that's my second favorite of Jim's victory poses, and that is fairy number 3, which if you remember the storyline back at the beginning, the princess split into 3 fairies. We found them now, but we don't have the magic duct tape to put her back together, so we need to go beat Viralis to get the tape. So we're going to get summoned out of this by the 3 fairies. If you don't have the fairies, you somehow still get caught in the collapsing castle and then mysteriously wake up on shore. So I don't know how you actually escape if you don't have the fairies, but it works. And there's a boss rush coming up. So you remember all those fabulous bosses we fought before? We're going to do those again, except harder, and except they only did half the bosses.
Yeah. They must have got tired of playing the game and making it, so they just didn't want to put more bosses in.
Yeah, we're only going to have Vampire and Mage here. They did buff them extremely heavily, though. So Vampire's got 20 bats with them that all have paralysis. Mike, you're not voice acting. There we go. So this is actually much harder. He can't get stuck on the wall. The bats are stun locking me. You'll know when I'm stun locked if I turn blue and fall down. Oh, perfect Vampire.
Perfect.
Wow.
Yep, no stun at all.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, so basically if you get stun locked, random amount of time to wake up, and you probably die like every 3 or 4 seconds. So that's why I have those stamina potions. You haven't seen me die yet unintentionally, but you can actually revive after death as long as you do it within like 2 or 3 frames, which is several seconds. So it's a pretty generous window. Here we go, mage time. He's brought some skeletons. They also paralyzed, so we're going to take those guys out. However, unlike the vampire, the mage is not going to revive the skeleton unless we let him cast a spell. Also, I'm in pretty close range, so remember that eel triple combo with the fighter necklace? Same thing here. So we could actually take this guy out really fast once he decides to land mage. Also, for some reason, one of these is called wizard, the other is called evil mage, so they weren't quite consistent with how they named them.
Probably a good time for donations. We might be here for a while.
One last donation for the road. This is only 5 hits.
Yeah.
We have $100.54 from Skeeve Twitch.
For Hydlide?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Skeeve Twitch.
Thank you, Steve.
I know you've enjoyed many virtual Hydlide runs in the past, and I don't know how you're continuing to stay alive.
Greetings, Gyre and the chat. Oops, I mean the couch. I'm donating a penny for every frame rendered for the entire run of this awful, awful game. That's fine. Keep on awkwardly sidestepping and pausing to turn. Money goes to Gyre's choice with the 54 cents for High Spirit's choice.
And I'll put that towards the secret Quell level, which Rue Quetzalcoatl is doing tomorrow morning in Diablo 2. Rue, a great runner, and hope he gets a lot of support there. All right, mage is down. Woo. Final boss time.
Oh boy.
Now I remember, like, all the way at the beginning, I said there's those 3 required gems. They're more like the 3 suggested gems in this version. The downside is that I'm not going to be able to see him, so he's going to be invisible a lot, and that just means it's going to be harder to lock on. Once he teleports, I can see where he is, but he might be anywhere around me, and I can't see more than 6 feet. Also, Jim's thinking here.
Also, they were kind enough to put animated room in a game that already struggles with frame rate.
Exactly. Mike, your line. Best thing he can do is sit there and laugh at me. He's not laughing. So we're going to just take some shots to the face here. More efficient than trying to dodge. Ooh, excellent. Not teleporting. Okay, where'd he go? Somewhere. There he is. Almost done. 2 more hits to go.
Oh. Ooh.
And time. We are through virtual
Nice.
Hydlide.
Know that.
We did it in under 23 frames. Congratulations.
Nice.
Now we are going to get the rest of the storyline here at the ending. So this was very important. You guys got all of the budget of the game right here as we have Veralis' death scene. Sadly, they don't realize it's 101%. So Jim has gone on a diet all of a sudden. He's very slender now and has lost his fairy mail. No longer fits. And we get to rescue that wonderful, wonderful princess. The only other person in Fairyland, so Jim's probably looking for somebody to talk to.
Magic tape. Duct tape.
She had her eyes closed the entire game.
Probably a good idea. Also, Jim's lost his contact lens. He's looking for it right now.
Yeah.
She couldn't handle the lava room. She didn't seem that excited, let's be fair.
And then suddenly, stock photography in the background. The rest of the ending is going to be stock photography that they licensed from this photograph company. And I've been debating, so I need you guys to help me. Are these sheep or cows in the background? I say that they're sheep.
Dude.
There we go. Everybody says sheep in the room.
I'm voting for the cow level.
So these stock photos are nice, but I'm curious, who plays Jim?
They don't actually credit any of the actors. I think that was part of their contract,
Yeah, he
too.
wanted a job, yeah. He wanted another job.
Chat is having a fierce debate over cows or sheep right now.
Nice.
Now, there is one last donation I would really like you to hear while you're still here, Gyre. From $10 from Garion, who says, I have to say, surprised to see Hydlide instead of Panzer Dragoon Saga, Shining Force 3, Lunar, Shining Wisdom, Shin Megami, Vandal Hearts, or Tactics Ogre. And I skipped so many other good Saturn RPGs as well. Still, props for having a Saturn game. And let's hit 60K before Final Fantasy VIII.
And that was a game.
And you did
Yep.
you did notice they credited the company they got the stock photos from, but they didn't credit who did the acting.
Now, in Hydlide tradition, if you've played NES Hydlide, you know there's only one way that can be the ending of a Hydlide game.
We break the game?
Well, that and...
Congratulations and 2 frames of animation. Yes.
Well, you don't get the 2 frames. You just get the congratulations.
I was going to say, that's a solid.
They ran out of frames at this point.
Yeah,
It is a downgrade from NES Hydlide. NES Hydlide had 2 frames of animation, and congratulations. This just has the word. But let's see. Did it forget my high score list? I'm interested to see if we made the top 10. Again, this is arcade. You know, we put all those quarters in to continue. So here we go. What is my score? Well, good points starting off. There's my time bonus. Okay, 31 monsters, respectable. Game level. We didn't get the Nomus clear. And
Did you get top 10?
no top 10
No
for
top
us.
10.
So sadly, that is how Virtual Hydlide is going to conclude there. But
Aw.
we do have more wonderful, wonderful games coming up for you. So, Mike, take it away for the rest of this
take it
tremendous
away, take
block.
it
Yeah,
away.
please take it now already.